So there's a little bit of a delay put in there between actually doing the one thing and the other. Sorry, the dog is complaining because the hubby, in his infinite wisdom, put something in the corner that the doggy likes to sleep in, and I don't know where to put it. So poor doggy is out of luck, and she's unhappy because she's got to find a new spot to go and lay down. I think she's either going to pick beside me or over by the heater. But if you hear no doggy noises, I'm sorry. It's just she's trying to find a place to lay down. Alrighty. Hey, it's not just me today, though. We've got a Megan.
Hello.
Hello. And a lovely Laura.
Yay.
And yay! That I'm live, so yay. Oh, okay. So before we get started on anything today, one, this is going to be kind of like the older Fridays where we're going to be doing a lot of chit-chatting. There will be some sprints and stuff because I feel like there should be some stuff maybe getting done. I need to decide whether or not I'm going to talk about what happened to Gina Carano because I really want to, but I don't know that I have anything to add that hasn't already been said by some of the, like Jesse Gender, who did a wonderful video on it, and Council of Geeks, who did a wonderful video on it. But I might just record a video and delete it because I do that quite a bit just to get things off my chest because I'm that kind of a person. But yeah, so if I'm a bit rambly today, I've had quite an anxious morning. We found out early this morning that the shipment for the vaccine arrived in town a day early, and because it has a short shelf life once delivered, they were just going to do shots today for the people that found out about it. And they called some people, they didn't call other people, they didn't call us. We found out about it, had to rush down to the Coliseum, fill out our paperwork again, get in line. And as somebody who's literally like lived in a box for the last year because don't want to die, being in a room filled with strangers and army men's running around in a weird concrete enclosure did stressful things to the insides of my head. So, good news is I've had my second shot. So, yay. But I'm still trying to like relax down. I will say though, for anybody who has not received one yet, try to get in contact with your nearest National Guard base because they are putting them out. Contact the hospitals, find your local health department. They should know. They should at least be able to put you on the list because the sooner we can get jabs in everybody's arms, the sooner we can like have life back. And that would kind of be a nice thing. I'm also overly emotional because now everyone in my immediate family has been double vaccinated. We've gotten our second one. And my dad's birthday is Monday. So I might actually get to spend his birthday with him this year. Which I'm like overly emotional about because we have not been spending birthdays or holidays together because, reasons. So I'm really emotional today. That's why.
We're giving out vaccines by age group. And so because we have so little vaccine, supposedly I won't get mine until August. So we'll see.
Hopefully they will be able to ramp up production, and especially with the is it Johnson & Johnson that at least in the US has filed for clearance for their new vaccine. So it's going to be another one on the market. Hopefully things will be better. So let's see who's here and get into our regularly scheduled programming. Shall we? Hello, Devin. How are you doing today? I'm so shocked. How is Megan in the chat? Hey, that's magic. Hello, CB. How are you doing? Hello, Blue. How are you doing? I love that image. That's really cool. Let's see. All about the squish. Hello. I have to say the Blob gave me nightmares. I will agree with that. The Blob definitely gave me nightmares when I was a kid. The remake, not so much. I didn't find the remake scary. The original one, I think it's because it was like Jello that they like squished through models and stuff, so it had a much more organic feel, gross feel to it. Or maybe it's just because I was younger. I don't know. But yeah.
Practical effects in camera are much more visceral for me.
Agreed. Let's see. You still haven't had your first shot yet because you are stupid. You said it. I didn't. You don't think the Blob has a pronoun, though? That would be an interesting question. That would be an interesting question. Hello, Master Sengo. How are you doing today? I was introducing the topic. I was introducing a little bit about my life. All right. See, age group and vulnerability. Yeah. Yeah. I was only able to get mine because I lucked out and got one of the overflows. So, yeah. Same. Oh, we're probably, especially as the movie approaches, going to be talking about Dune a lot. Hello, Allie. How are you doing today? And Devin saying hello to all the people. All right, so I'm actually, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, Laura, you pitched the idea for this topic to me, and it was such a neat idea. Did you want to explain what you were wanting us to do, or do you just want me to?
Sure. So, my original idea was classic monsters and the representation of the other. So, just classic monsters who don't fit in with the norm of the society that they are in, that they are either created into or born into or transformed into. And so just not fitting into social norms and how we are viewed. And just, yeah, I love classic monsters.
I do too. And it's really interesting seeing their relationship to, especially their literary forebearers, the ones that have them, because my personal favorite, and the one that I said that I wanted to talk about first, is Bela Lugosi's Dracula. Just because, one, I've said it so many times on here, I love the book. I love the book. I love the book. I love the book. Lucy was done dirty. Lucy was done dirty. But
This is what he looked like.
And it's so not the Dracula from the book. It is a character that only Bela Lugosi could have played. Just, first of all, when they made this movie, they actually filmed it twice at the same time, which I find just mind-boggling. Because if I remember correctly, they filmed both in English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
They would basically shoot the scene in English and then reset and shoot the scene in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
So that they could release in both markets.
Yes.
Simultaneously, which that is insane. Just knowing what all goes into movie production and all the work, having to memorize basically twice the amount of script, and especially for a lot of the actors that were in the original ones, they're learning scripts in languages they don't speak. Because
So this movie was filmed simultaneously in English and German. So the Werner Herzog Klaus Kinski Nosferatu, Phantom der Nacht. And yeah, same deal. They filmed it simultaneously so they could have releases in multiple languages. So fun. But one thing I did notice that's different between the English and Spanish Bela Lugosi versions is they have these cardboard pieces clamped onto lamps to block the light to make it do certain shapes and stuff. And you can see them in the shot. There's cardboard on the lamp bedside table. And you're like, wait, what? They're not in the Spanish version. They took them off. Okay.
Right. I not thought about that, but yeah, thinking back, yeah, there is cardboard.
There's cardboard on the lamps. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
man, that is, yeah. Wow. Hello, Bonnie. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Oh my goodness. So, first off, I mean, Bela Lugosi is so pivotal for the character of Dracula, just because it's kind of like, I can never remember his name, but that one actor who created pirate speak that we all think like all pirates speak like pirates. That's that one British actor who used that in like one of the earliest movies, and everybody was like, hey, that's a good idea, and just copied him, even though that was his like actual South London accent. Bela Lugosi's he was Hungarian, if I'm remembering correctly.
So.
Accent just dripping off of his voice, and that overly dramatic way that he had of delivering his lines is so ingrained in us. And it is so beautifully, I don't want to say other, but it is otherworldly in the way that he knew how to catch his light. He knew how to stand so that he made Dracula look so much more menacing than the makeup or the set pieces could have, because he knew how to catch the light just right for his features to really morph and change and have that power. But more than that, he was, I think, I blame Bela Lugosi for Twilight. He was the first suave, sexy vampire. I mean, he really was. I mean, the Dracula book is not a suave, sexy vampire. You would not want to go on a date with the Dracula from the book. He's gonna eat you. You're gonna die. And it's not going to be pretty. And you look at the vampire movies that led up before this, and a lot of the vampire stories. Then you have Bela Lugosi's like, huh?
Yeah, they used to be like this.
Yes. Yes.
Not pretty.
Not pretty. And then you just have this like suave, debonair, like, hello, Jonathan. Like, oh, yeah. Hello. How are you doing? And I really do think like his performance changed everything. Like the Anne Rice vampire and everything that came after it is a descendant of his, because he brought so much pathos to the role that for the first time you could identify him. Count Orlok in the Nosferatu movie that you just picked up, there's nothing sympathetic about it. No. He's a monster in appearance. He's a monster in action. He's just a terrible creature. There's so much humanity in Bela Lugosi's portrayal of the character. You can't help but identify with him. And to me, like, that's the moment where we, like, the Vampire Diaries, True Blood, all of the Anne Rice books, all of that. Yeah. Oh,
Gary Oldman, man. Just that movie in particular takes both extremes of monster and sympathetic and puts them into the same character in that version, which was very interesting.
And I remember the first time I saw that in the theater, because Gary Oldman is kind of cute. I'm saying he's just kind of cute. And then the makeups that they did for him were horrifying. Like, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely see the I think it came out, what was it, 95? I want to say 95, 96. Maybe wrong.
92.
92.
Winner of 3 1992 Academy Awards.
So if you've not seen the Gary Oldman that particular version of Dracula, it is, I think, as close to the books as we're going to get from a movie, because it goes into the characters and the characterizations a bit more, and it's got Keanu Reeves in it, so, you know, for everybody who's now in the love of Keanu Reeves. Like, definitely check this movie out, because if you need a Jonathan Harker who goes, whoa, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, so good.
Because it's
I
Jonathan.
I love the shadows. Okay, so in this German one, the Werner Herzog version of Nosferatu, the shadows in the home of Dracula in the castle are gorgeous. Like, there's these ornate candelabras that cast these shadows, and there's cut lights to illuminate the these skeletal clocks that actually has a skeleton come out and everything. And so, like, it lays some groundwork for some cool shadow stuff. But then the Gary Oldman one, Dracula's shadow actually moves on its own and does things, and it has more of an otherworldly. And they did so much of it in camera. It's just mind blowing.
And the most brilliant scene in there is there's one of the monster scenes. I don't want to like spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but it's like an old movie, so like it's weird not wanting to spoil the movies, but the scene is so powerful. None of the actors saw Gary Oldman in costume. They blindfolded all of the actors and brought them in. And so it's the scene where he's the bat monster. I'm just going to say it. And they blindfolded all of the actors, brought them out on set, kept him in the shadows. They kept him in the darkness. And the first time they ever saw him was when he comes up from behind them and starts doing these like weird hand gestures around them, like lightly brushing them with the hairs that they put on his hands. That fear and anxiety you see in their faces, that's all real.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had no idea what had just come out. And then when they see him, that look of shock in their eyes, that was the first time they'd seen him dressed like that. And it's so, it is such a powerful scene.
And they paved the way for them to do that same kind of thing with Pennywise in the new It, where the kids didn't see him in makeup until the scene. Just, yes.
But Dracula is one of the, like, I would say 3 classic movie monsters I have always identified with most, because I see so much queer coding in vampires that it's not even funny. Because one, like if you read older vampire stuff, it's not even like queer coding. Like Camilla is a lesbian vampire who sees a hot chick that she wants to have and is trying to figure out exactly how to kill off her dad so she can have her. Like that is the plot of Camilla. You read The Vampire. Oh, you're a hot dude. I want you to be mine forever. Here's how I'm going to have you. That's the plot of The Vampire. I mean, you read these early stories. There's no coding in them. They're just how they got around some of the morality clauses, because it's technically a monster. I mean, it's not what you think. It's a monster. They want blood. I didn't say sex. I said blood.
Like, with the whole morality and the whatchamacallit, like the Screen Guild, whatchamacallit, they have certain rules they couldn't break.
Oh, the Hays Code.
So it was interesting because in my Frankenstein, beautiful Frankenstein, Brighter Frankenstein, those ones, they had to tone it down with the whole, in the name of God, now I know what it feels like to be God. They had to cut that line out of the movie. But then I'm watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the whole beginning is, in the beginning, God created the earth. And then all of this science stuff happened after the creation. And so it's this weird mixing of Christian religion and science in these.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize about the Hays Code, and this is still true on the ratings board that determines what rating a movie gets now, is that there is always one priest and one Protestant minister on the board. And there's only like, I think 7 or 8 people included on the board that we know of. It's a very small group of people that actually determine what ratings a movie gets. And 2 of them have very specific ideas of what is and is not appropriate. There's a wonderful movie about this called This Movie Is Not Yet Rated. It's a documentary where they actually go through and explore how the rating system works. And they tried to actually get interviews with people, but the MPAA guards the secrecy of who actually is on the board that determines ratings,
Oh.
Mhm.
so that they can't be bribed. Which I just have to say, if anybody knows the saga of what was it, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, the South Park movie, every time they got a note back that they needed to take a joke out, they extended the sequence. That's why the movie is called Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. They literally, every time they got a note of you can't do this joke, they just extended that sequence and made it longer and resubmitted it. And finally, the board just gave up and went fine and give them an R, even though they literally kept doubling down on all the stuff that if they wanted an R rating, they had to cut out.
Yeah.
Like it's the ratings themselves are problematic in that nature, in like every possible way. And worse segue here, but hello, Mr. P. Hello, Greg. How are you doing? Yes, we are talking horror with Laura Nettles. This will be a bloodbath. Yes. But yeah, it's the ratings are it's a very different system from what we had with the Hays Code, because there's literally a set of fairly set in stone rules of what you could and could not do, and one of them was blasphemy. You could not do anything that was considered blasphemy. And so technically having a human say, I now know what it is like to be God, is technically blasphemy under those rules.
Mhm.
Somehow the Creature from the Black Lagoon, not. Because, just not. But, yeah. When you actually look into a lot of this, it gets, I don't even know what the word is. Problematic is not a good enough word for how rating systems actually work and function.
Mhm.
It's just, excuse my French, but it's fucked up. I mean, it's just completely and utter, like
I'm confused. So I recently I didn't know this existed, but there's a Mary Shelley's Frankenstein by Kenneth Branagh, where Kenneth Branagh is Dr. Frankenstein and Robert De Niro's the monster. And it's rated R for, what did it say? For horrific images. That's it.
Yep.
Like, it's not bloody. There's no cursing. Nope. Like, they're about to be romantic and she's still dressed. Sure, we get to see some rippling abs, but it was okay. It's still R. So I don't know, man. I don't understand the rating system sometimes. Like, it's just horrific images. It's just too scary.
And while I don't think it's perfect, I prefer like the ESRB ratings where they literally just have to mark what's in it. Like the rating up at the top that says like mature and stuff, like that's crap. But just like, is there blood? There's, foul language, like violence, those little tags, that's helpful, right? Something like that would be helpful, especially if they were like used in a way that made sense across the board. But yeah, and because mild language, that's my favorite tag to see on any rated movie. Like, it got this rating for mild language.
Mild.
I could show
Sounds
you.
like salsa rating.
Yeah. Like, I can show you like 5 things that have mild language as one of the reasons they got their ratings, and you'd sit back and go, how is this all mild? Like, side by side. I don't think that has an actual definition for what it means. Because they get interesting. Let's see. In the first Die Hard movie, the stunt at the end was filmed first because they didn't. Yep. And and the most wonderful part is they didn't tell Alan Rickman that he was actually going completely over the edge. Like, they didn't explain the stunt to him completely, so that look of terror in his eyes, that's real. He thought they were going to call cut, and a stuntman was going to come in and take his place. And then they were just like, bye. Woo!
That's a great way to like ruin someone's trust in you.
And so when you see him at the very end of the movie have that like terror on his face. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Bela Lugosi and his way he speaks as being iconic, Alan Rickman's just iconic in his speech patterns. Oh my gosh.
I wish he had done more horror movies. Just because I can see him in so many roles. Like there's so many, like, especially like classic creature movies. I would love, like, I could see him both as Frankenstein and the monster. Like,
Yeah.
I could just like pick a role or just have him play both. That's fine. Like if Eddie Murphy can do it, anybody else can.
So last year, or 2019, I got to watch the London, whatchamacallit. They did the play of Frankenstein, and Benedict Cumberbatch played the monster in one version, and then the next version they swapped and he played the doctor. So I watched it twice, so I got to see him play both, and it was so good. Like, yes.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I have such a weird identification with Bela Lugosi is, again, like I was saying, just like the whole connection to the vampire and everything. But I'm also of the generation that got into goth during like when Bauhaus was still a thing. And for anybody who doesn't know about them, they went into the studio to record their first album on the same day Bela Lugosi died.
Oh, I did
And
not know that.
yeah. And they were told, oh, did you hear Bela Lugosi died? And they started goofing off in the studio, and that became one of their biggest first hits, which was Bela Lugosi's Dead. That's just them like riffing in the studio for a while, and they redid a few parts, and to make it into the song that it is now. But they just kind of had a moment of, goth band records first major label album, and Bela Lugosi dies, But his name was so a part of the scene back when I was a kid, and as I was growing up, and like it was half a joke, but it was also just like that desire to have that kind of just ease that his Dracula had in his, just everything was just, I'm going to do this now. Like he is the most effortless Dracula in the history of Draculas, and his kind of life goals for that, because this is before vampires had to have angst. So he has like none of that, but like everything he does is just like, oh, you hear my children of the night. Like he's so cheeky that I know a lot of the people in the scene back when I first got involved were really like into that idea of like, wouldn't it be great if we could all just be as relaxed about our lives as good old Drac was? Like, wouldn't that just be great? Because life is hard, but like, who cares? You're just going to get staked at the end anyway. Let's just have some fun. Like,
and if you're doing I think it was Dracula Dead and Loving It, you will have buckets of blood come out when you're staked.
Buckets. Oh my god.
Buckets. It was like a fire hose, man. It was ridiculous. The whole room was coated.
Like if anyone hasn't seen that movie, that was a Leslie Nielsen movie that is
Mel Brooks.
Leslie Nielsen movie. I don't know how to, like, you could call them comedies, but like he was a genre of comedy in and of himself. Like it's kind of like the Vampire in Brooklyn is like, it's, if you ever wanted to know what Eddie Murphy's version of Dead and Loving It would look like, that would be Vampire in Brooklyn.
What's the Nicolas Cage one called?
Oh crap.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
Yeah. Because unfortunately my mind went instantly to Love at First Bite, and that's not Nicolas Cage. I've seen too many really bad vampire movies because we used to have Vampire Blood Night, and it was just like we would find all the vampire movies that none of us had seen. I will let you know, there's a movie called Children of Blood. Don't watch it. Not because it's like horrific or gory or anything, but it starts off with like a 10-minute operetta of a woman singing two notes back and forth while blood literally drips in front of the camera, and they slowly show the credits.
Wow.
Don't watch this movie. And the worst part is that's the best part of the film.
Oh no!
Oh
One of my favorite openings that has blood dripping is the opening of Sweeney Todd.
no. I love Sweeney Todd so
Mhm.
much.
But yeah. I think so.
Oh yeah, A Vampire's Kiss. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is a national treasure.
A national treasure that he stole.
Oh, if anybody hasn't seen The History of Cuss Words on Netflix starring Nicolas Cage,
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
they literally, each episode is a different cuss word and Nicolas Cage dramatically explaining it to you in a way that only Nicolas Cage can dramatically explain a cuss word to you. You may not know that you need this in your life. I needed this in my life.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Oh, I forgot
Rickman.
Alan Rickman was in that one.
Mhm.
He's secretly in a lot of stuff.
Well, the thing is, like, in that movie, everyone just blends into their character so well that I totally forgot that that's
Yeah.
who they were. Except for Johnny
Wormtail's in
Depp,
there,
because
too.
Johnny Depp is, like, always Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Well, it was so weird watching the Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein because Helena Bonham Carter is in it.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
wait, what? Like, she was in a scary movie that wasn't a Tim Burton movie, and she was married to an actor not Johnny Depp in the movie. Like, what is this?
It's so weird seeing Helena Bonham Carter play anyone other than the stock role that Tim Burton gives her. Like when you see her in any other movie and you're just like, you're a really good actress.
Like, you played an amazing Bellatrix Lestrange. Amazing.
It's just so weird when you see her not playing that Tim Burton character that she always plays every time Tim Burton casts her in something.
Mhm.
I'm still not quite over her role in the new I just lost the name of it.
King's Speech?
The Holmes. No, the new Holmes movie that's on Netflix. I just lost her name. The one with
Enola.
Yeah, Enola Holmes movie. Because she plays Sherlock's mother
Ooh.
in there. And but then again, that movie also gets me a little bit Twitter pated because it's got Henry Cavill in it. And that's not problematic at all.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is an underrated actor. I know that's not the topic for today, and maybe we can do
Face off.
So a while back, he did an interview. I think it was with Parade magazine, where he explains exactly why he does all the weird things that he does. And like once you actually hear it, his version of like all the choices, like why is he in these weird movies? Why did he do this, that, and the other thing? You're just like, oh Lord, I think Nicolas Cage is the only sane person on earth, and the rest of us are just hoping to get there. Like it's it's one of those things that like I am now convinced that he's from the same dimension that Prince and David Bowie came from, and he's the last ambassador from that plane who has just a little bit of hope that maybe we're worthy of ascending to their greatness. Like, I think he might be their last ambassador because he's not as kooky as I thought he was. He's still kooky. I'm not saying he's not kooky, but he's not as kooky as I thought he was.
He has to be able to afford his comic book collection.
Yeah, comic books aren't cheap. We totally play the Phantom. I love them. Okay, one of these days, after Les Mis is finally forgotten as the horrible, horrible movie that it is, and we can fight on that if you want. But maybe we can get back to having good movie musicals again, and we can get a remake of the Phantom of the Opera that's actually good.
So I have a couple versions of Phantom of the Opera that are like silent films and old ones. And it was really weird. In one of them, the Phantom was actually her dad. Like,
what?
There's some weird versions out there, man.
I have not seen that one.
Yeah. He like affords her lessons as like he's the Phantom, and like he gets disfigured with acid, and his concerto gets stolen because he's a violinist. And like,
I have not seen that one.
Oh my gosh, it was so weird. Yeah.
Oh no, the stage Don't get me wrong. The stage musical's really good. The movie is terrible. Like, I don't know what they were. Well, actually, I do know.
Is it Russell Crowe?
Yeah, it was Russell Crowe and just
Mel Gibson or somebody?
it was just
Anne
terrible.
Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway, and it just.
Yeah, I never actually got
There
to
were
see
so
it.
many things I hated about it, but I still love the movie. Only because I love the book so much.
Well, I feel like it ruined movie musicals because they didn't make them stick to the music. They had this weird notion in their head that they could just ad-lib the tune as they sang, and then they forced the conductor to rewrite the score around what they filmed on stage, on camera, after it was edited together from like 9 different takes of them doing completely different things musically.
Oh no!
Oh,
They
wow.
performed without a click track, so if the tempo of all of the songs speeds up and slows down and goes all over, just wobbly all over the place, and it's why Cats is terrible. It's the same director who made Cats.
Oh, wow.
Cats is more obviously bad because the special effects are atrocious, and he added a character to Cats that doesn't need to have, and it completely destroyed anything that could have made Cats even bearable, even though Cats is not good to begin with. But that's a whole other thing.
They're not a classic monster.
I
They're a
don't
new
Have
beast.
you seen the new movie version of Cats? I think they need to be added in there because
They're not a classic monster. They're a new monster.
I don't know. There's some nightmare fuel in there. I think they found all the Yule cats from Scandinavia and put them in a blender and was just like, here, I need you to dance along with these people, and we're just gonna cut their faces onto your body.
Oh no.
It's
Yeah.
train wreck. Hello.
Accidentally took a nap.
I
That's a
would
good
love
misfortune.
to take a nap. I would love that. Cats was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're heading up on the 40 minutes of doing this, and I'm just going to put this out there. We're going to keep talking for a little bit, but I was thinking of doing 15-minute sprints because, again, I don't know if I'm going to like work on my story or if I'm going to continue working on the train wreck of a song that I was working on yesterday. And for anybody who knows music, I figured out what I did wrong. I was actually using the Phrygian mode, which I didn't realize I was doing the Phrygian mode, but I was, and now like I'm screwed because God, why did I do that? No, I don't know. I may or may not I may just make a video where I yell at the camera for 15 minutes, but I'll be better when it's done. And it goes away. We'll see. I don't know. But I do want to do that. So if that sounds good to everybody else, just let me know. Because if you want, I can shut up and we can just listen to Laura talk because she's much more fun on this topic.
I just rewatched House of Dracula, which is such a
Weird.
unique spin for a horror movie because in this one, Dracula comes to a doctor and says, "Cure me of my vampirism." And so the doctor takes blood samples and there's something in his blood. And so he's like, "I can cure you." And so Dracula's going to get cured. The Wolfman comes, he's like, "Cure me." And there's a hunchback lady working for the doctor, but so there's 2 women. They're both beautiful, but one has a hunchback. The one who has a hunchback is actually in the medical profession and helps in the lab. And the other one's a secretary. And both Dracula and the Wolfman fall in love with the pretty secretary one. And it's like, what the heck is going on? And then they find Frankenstein's monster in the basement. And Dracula decides, I don't know if he was pretending to want to be cured the whole time, but he infects the doctor and the doctor goes mad and brings back Frankenstein's monster to life and just insanity. But it was so weird to see classic horror monsters want to be cured of their monstrous traits and just like trying to do it through science. So I don't know if they were trying to make a commentary on curing your otherness or not, but it was weird. Just Like the hunchback woman wanted to be cured of her hunchback through the whole thing, but gave up the opportunity to be cured to cure the Wolfman instead. And so the Wolfman is suicidal and tries to commit suicide in this movie, and then they bring him back and they fix him, and he's cured of being a Wolfman. But Dracula is the one who's like, cure me? No, just kidding. I'm gonna try and like take this woman, and then they kill Dracula. So it's like the three different ways. You can be an other, you can be a hunchback and live with yourself and be okay with it, or you can be a monstrous wolfman who hates yourself and has to be cured through science, or you can be Dracula who can be monstrous and decide, I'm fine with being a monster, I'm just going to infect others and make them monstrous at the same time. So there was like three different versions of looking at being monstrous. So it was weird. Okay, Dracula knew her from before, and so he was trying to steal her away with like hypnotism and music. And then after he gets taken care of, the Wolfman comes in, and then the Wolfman and her are like, oh, so it wasn't at the same time. Yeah, like he was saying that there's a parasite in the blood, but he was still transforming into a bat. Like, I don't know.
I can actually answer that question. There's a wonderful book. It's a college textbook. So I say that as a warning because it's like $50 to buy because, college textbook called The Myth of Disenchantment that actually goes into this and is an academic study on why we see this kind of magical supernatural versus science myth dichotomies start cropping up and chronicles the history of it. And it's literally a narrative. Like it's a story that was crafted in the mid 1700s to give an air of authority to certain scientists that were having an issue getting their work paid attention to in England, and it spread around the world. The spoiler in the name of the book and the reason it's called The Myth of Disenchantment is even in countries that are considered highly non-religious, when you actually ask questions like, do you read your horoscopes? Do you consult psychics? Do you believe in ghosts? Like you actually ask spiritual questions. The percentages don't change from countries that are highly spiritual. It's just a meta narrative that got added into our cultural ideology that, well, science over here, and for obvious reasons, those dirty mythological spiritual things are over there, and they're at odds with each other. And it's perpetuating a dichotomy that people don't often actually experience in their real lives. It's a really interesting survey if anybody wants to read it. It's a good book. I've been thinking about actually doing some videos on it. Sorry if I'm overly serious. That was my father who just called. Yay, cat's home. My second cousin just died.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are you okay?
Yeah. We were not too close. Like we were close, but not like, like it just kind of hit because it's hitting me like in a weird way because like she died of the plague that's going around, and like she was the only other member of the family that was as interested in researching our history as I was.
Oh yeah.
So, like we corresponded a lot in trying to figure out who and where we actually came from, and that's what the phone call was that I had to jump off real quick for. So I apologize for the like sudden seriousness when I came back. I wanted to do a sprint anyway, so at 45 minutes after, so I'm going to cue that up. Yeah, thank you. It's just it's an odd mental state knowing like I just got my second jab and like the same day a family member passed. Like it's It's doing a weirdness in my head, but I'm fine. But where are you? I had you open. Did I accidentally close you? I accidentally closed you. Dang it. Just a second. I had I was going to do the monster race timer because, that's what we're.
Oh yeah, that's perfect for
Yeah.
today's
There it is.
conversation.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about, and I apparently closed it. So there we go. Reopened. So let's share screen with audio. I think it's that one. Yes. All right. Let's see. We're limited to 6 now, but that's fine. Alrighty. Like I said, I don't know what all I'm doing. Oh, we got crazy
Ooh,
monsters today.
Mummy,
I'm going with Pumpkinhead.
that was my second choice.
I'm gonna go with the night because I'm in a real Scooby-Doo kind of place, and he's making me think of like all the like spooky ghost haunted nights from Scooby-Doo.
That's the first thing that popped into my head with that one too.
Hello,
Mine was
Maggie.
the episode of Tailspin.
Thank
Haven't
you.
seen Tailspin in forever.
Oh yeah, that was
I
good.
was probably a kid when the last time I watched it.
I wish
Mhm.
you let me go back up to 99. That used to be fun. Alrighty. I will keep a look and listen out for the boop. No, not 6. Dragon
The
Goblin.
Dragon Goblin.
The Dragon Goblin is so cute. So cute. And Cat's picking the creepy nurse. Alrighty. So I'm going to go grab my tea, and who knows what I'm going to do during this. Make sure that you're having fun. That's the point of today's stream, y'all. Have fun. If that means you still need to work on a short story or your draft for something you're actually working on, go for it. But if it starts giving you stress, hands up. We're having fun today because God knows we need it. Alrighty. I'm going to hit start on this one, and we will be back in 15 minutes, starting in 5, 4. Why can I never count to 0? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
That scared me so bad. Guinea pigs.
They're so cute. I like how there's blood on the finish line. Charlie, you're still muted.
I am. The night one. That's crazy. That's kind of awesome. I'm going to be cheating just because I can. So I hope nobody's like upset or offended that, guinea pig Cam is like giant on the screen right now. But guinea pig Cam. All right. So in that sprint, which I also jumped because right when the applause started, my phone went bing to let me know that the new episode of WandaVision is indeed there and you haven't watched it yet. And I know, but we had stuff to do. So it applauded, my phone went bing, and it was just like, rah! So I spent that sprint working on a song that I don't know. Hopefully I will finish in the not too distant future.
Yay.
What all did y'all do?
I worked on my flash fiction. It's a mix of Victorian Gothic and cosmic horror. So
Nice.
very fun. It's called Wallpaper.
Ooh.
So very excited.
I also grabbed my tea.
Yay.
That's what I did. Is I went and grabbed some tea and another stroopwafel because I'm addicted, and
So good.
then I was on Twitter.
Eat, guinea pig, eat.
The happiness of guinea pig Cam. Oh my goodness. It's been a day. There we go. Yes. Yeah, it's been a day. But yeah. Guinea pigs. Off to cook. I have to say, I've been telling her, like, this is like the secret to streaming success. Like, now that she's got the guinea pigs, like, set up the guinea pig cam and, like, you can still be on screen, but, like, have the guinea pig cam on because then, people have choices. Because, like, if I had a dog that didn't, like, run from cameras, like, you can't convince me that she doesn't know what a camera is because she will literally run and hide. Like, you're going to steal her soul if you camera. So, but if she didn't do that, I would definitely have a puppy cam because she's over there being all cutesy right now. And she looked up at me like,
Who, me?
because she knows the English. Miss P did some research for a new short story. A new short story series. Ooh. Ugh. Why is naming monsters so hard? I cheat. FantasyNameGenerators.com. I don't often use the names that it comes up with, but when you see like the jangled mess of like random word sounds put into order, it'll often jingle something out, and I'll like see like, ooh, what if I took that syllable and that syllable and that syllable, ooh, and get a monster name that way. And I will admit that every now and then, like, it creates one, and I'm just like, oh, that's perfect. But it's a good place to start because.
Yeah, I just named my cosmic horror creature. So, oh my gosh. So this creature is in the vastness of space. He's out in the void. And the soul of this Victorian man has been sucked through the eyes of a wallpaper boy out into the voids of space. And he gets consumed by this creature, and the creature messes with his memories to transform them into the worst possible version so that he can feed off of the terror of this man. So I I think I'm calling it the memory eater or the mind eater, but I'm not sure.
See, it depends on how like much you want to listen to Mark Twain here, because I think for some things his writing advice, and if you've never read Mark Twain's Why I Hate James Fenimore Cooper, every writer should read Mark Twain's Why I Hate James Fenimore Cooper, because he hated, I know it's going to come as a shock for you, James Fenimore Cooper, with a fiery burning passion, and literally goes through all of the Deerstalker books like chapter by chapter, and why he's a bad writer and just needs to be put out to pasture and just like destroyed. It is like the world's first Reddit thread. I'm just saying. It's an amazing book. There are many reasons I love Mark Twain. That book is one of them. But in there, he gives his 10 rules for writers that all writers should follow. And of course, each rule breaks itself because it's Mark Twain and he can't help himself. So each rule is a violation of the rule itself. And one of my favorite rules on there is eschew surplusage, which means don't use overly complex words.
Uh-huh.
By using complex words.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a good rule to follow. And other times, like, I'm just like, but surplusage is the way to go. And especially with like cosmic horrors, like
Cthulhu, that's such a weird word.
I'm pretty sure that like Lovecraft sneezed and went, that's perfect. How do I write that down?
Yog-Sothoth.
Because you look at some of the names he came up with, and yeah, he sneezed and then like thought for way too long on how to spell that. The sound that his body.
For sure.
But you know, sometimes the surplusage is good, but that's where I pull out a thesaurus. I'm just like, what is the most obscure word that means what I'm looking for here that I can find? And then use that, because like one of the Tugwaddles in the fantasy series I'm working on have a chain where they can literally forge a memory into a link in a chain, and the chain grows throughout their lives. And this is the chain of amnesis, because amnesis is an English word for memory.
And these are what the Tugwaddles have for their lanterns?
Yes.
Yeah.
So their lantern hangs from a chain of amnesis, because that is such a beautifully overly complex word that just sounds like it belongs in a fantasy novel. So yay. But yeah, sometimes you should listen to Mark Twain and eschew surplusage. And other times, it is a great. I love Mark Twain too much. I'm literally talking to you from like the dead center of Mark Twain National Forest in Mark Twain country. Like, he was born around here. He's lived around here. Like, everything is Mark Twain. And I kind of grew up with that. So bear that in mind.
Enamored by the guinea pigs. I'm having a hard time focusing. It's so cute that each one is in their own little tree stump and they're just like looking out at each other like, hey, what's up in your tree stump? Not much.
I got a flat screen.
Oh my goodness. Guinea pigs.
They're so cute.
So I found a link. This isn't to the actual book, but it's somebody's article where they include 10 rules. In case anybody wants to.
Will they go for it? That is the question.
Oh, guinea pigs are so cute. Yeah, I feel that way too, CB. My brain is not wanting to focus on anything either. For reasons. But that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that one of the projects that slipped in right before I made my solemn vow not to start new projects was that I was going to do an album, because I can always sit there and goof around on a keyboard for a little bit of time. And like, does this sound good? No. Does this sound good? No. Does this sound good? Just like fiddle around with like Does that sound good? No. And the answer is usually no. But every now and then you're like, ooh. And then you start building from there. Or every now and then you're like, yeah. And I loved it when I heard that other song by those other people. And you're like, oh, crap. 89 or
98.
98. I warned y'all, my brain's kind of broken to 98 words. Snaps for you. Alrighty. Where are we? There we are. Let's see. If anybody's doing the drinking game, the chat just jumped. So I wish I had some amaretto or frangelico for this, but I don't. Let's see. Devin updated the playlists and watched Cat's Guinea Pigs. Yeah. I'm not saying that Cat's Guinea Pigs are up on my TV over there, but they might be up on my TV over there. Maggie got 211 words. Yay!
Woo.
I do too. The walls aren't stone. The wall was translucent and smooth, faintly showing the sandstone layers behind it. The surface was cold and smooth, with symbols etched into it.
Ooh.
I think it is a polymer the Elo use for their space fleet and buildings. This is your ancient alien story, right? So I'm curious where they found this wall. Stephanie researched names because she needs to name a few characters for an upcoming book. I'm telling y'all, fantasynamegenerator.com, because you can pick the ethnicity. Like you can go into the real name section and say people from this country, and it will give you both a first and last name. But sometimes, like, first names are easy, last names are hard. Last names are like the devil for me. I really like their site. They're not sponsoring this, but hey, help us out. Thank you for the link, Devin. Let's see. Fancy name. That would be awesome. They actually do have that. If you go into the they have both an Edwardian and a steampunk name generator. And those are fancy name generators, especially the Edwardian. I use that one for vampires sometimes. Hi, Jules. I'm sorry I missed your stream earlier. I hope that your internet is doing at least somewhat better. I don't know, because we were gone. Like, we left right before your stream started and got back after your stream was over. So I hope you're doing well. Yes, with the guinea pigs. There's Twain's rules. It's arm. How's the glitching? Oh, I guess that means it didn't get fixed.
No, that's why she had stopped the stream this morning.
Like I said, I missed the whole thing because we were in line to get our jabs with the Kyoto's little. Anyway, I just say the viewing was good. Let's see, still glitching, unfortunately. I'm hoping the internet company will do what they said and replace whatever they need to do. It didn't happen today, so maybe tomorrow. Well, I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, because I almost feel like we need to get to a point where we need to classify at least basic internet connection as a human right, because we were talking about this the other day, and like, I don't know how people find jobs if they don't have the internet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't have access to the internet, how are you going to find, let alone apply for just basic work? Like, maybe not high-speed internet, but at least some basic, like, can connect and do things online should be for everyone.
Like, all of my unemployment stuff was done online for months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to have the internet.
Oh. Have you, not trying to pressure you to join the stream, but is it when you're hosting, have you tried being on somebody else's? Just because I know some people have been having some real problems with StreamYard. Do you know if it's StreamYard or your internet? Have you formally figured that out? Because I know some people have just been having problems with StreamYard lately. Because I think you said you tried OBS, but my old laptop hated OBS with a fiery burning passion. This one, you could take it or leave it. This one is secretly from the planet Krypton, I'm pretty sure.
It has memory crystals.
It exported a 15-minute of an 11-minute HD video in less than a minute.
Nice.
It's impressive.
I'm pretty sure it's got Kryptonian technology on the inside of it. Like that's like I was about to switch off to do the thumbnail, and then I just watched the ticker going. I'm like, why can I see you moving? I can see you. You're like I can actually watch you moving in real time. How the you're done? Wow. Okay. Yay. I can do things now. Yay. Alrighty. So now that we're caught up, I wanted to start with talking about Dracula and my beloved Bela Lugosi. And we
Boris
did.
Karloff, man. Boris Karloff.
See, Boris
Lon
Karloff.
Chaney Jr.
Boris Karloff is my childhood because between like all of the monster movies he did and The Grinch,
Mm-hmm.
like Boris Karloff is one of those people. His Frankenstein is one of those that I put high on my list. Whoop.
It's an arm.
It's one of those things that I put really high on my list because as somebody who I've talked about this a lot on the stream, who like sprouted like a weed. I identified with the monster, especially his monster, because his monster is so like pathetically lovable. Like he just was a hug. Like just somebody hug the poor guy. Like he's not bad. He just needs love.
He didn't ask to be created and then abandoned.
Abandoned. Like I just think about like that whole movie. Like I'm wanting to break it down to like when he's talking to when he meets the little girl or when he meets the blind, but it's like I can't break it down to just like one moment. His portrayal is so sympathetic. And just he conveys so much emotion in his eyes and in his face, and
the eyes have the wax makeup to like do the heavy eyelids and everything, and he still emotes.
He still finds a way. But I identified with him so much just because that's how I felt. Like all the kids would be over there playing, and I'd just like be over in the corner because they don't know what to do with the giant freakish kid. The only time like I was ever popular is when they were playing basketball because they assumed because I was tall I could play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Note for all future generations: just because somebody has height does not mean that they can like play any of the sports balls. Thank you. They were wrong, which then caused further ostracization. But I wish, I don't know how to say this. I wish he had done for that kind of a monster exactly what I feel Bela Lugosi did for vampires. Because like I said, I really don't feel that we would have had the modern vampire anything without because it was two-part. It was one, Bela Lugosi's portrayal of Dracula, and then the 5,000 movies that came after it, like Dracula's Daughter and all of the Christopher Lee Draculas. How do we not talk about Christopher Lee Draculas? Oh my goodness! How do we
Hammer horror?
All of the Hammer horror movies. Like they gave us the modern vampire and all of its like beauty. But we really haven't done that with the Frankenstein mythology at all, which is weird. And I think it's also odd because, again, that emotive face when he played the mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, with all the crap should not have come through.
The mummy.
Yeah, like that should not be a thing. Like we should not be able to see his actual, like, being able to play through all that crud that they put on their faces is such an amazing talent.
Bela Lugosi was originally supposed to play Frankenstein's monster, but the test costuming and makeup was more like the Golem from the silent film. And so it was just like heavy everything, and it was more like a mask, and you couldn't see anything. And so he's like, no, I don't want to do this. And so then instead they did Karloff and got that makeup.
And I highly recommend anybody who's never seen any interviews with Boris Karloff. They exist. They're on the YouTubes. They are amazing in every possible way because he's just like your grandpa.
Yeah.
He has that very like granddad energy. Like I don't know how else to say it because he's like almost always in a sweater. Like no matter what, he's got on his nice like grandpa sweater. And he talks about making movies like you would hear a grandpa talking about playing with his kids. Like just the way like there was I can't remember who the interview was with, but there's this interview with him and he's wearing like this like gorgeously comfy looking Christmas sweater. And they're just like, so what was it like working on, the horror movies? Like they asked him the general question. He was just like, I never understood exactly what all the big deal was. What, all the fuss. Like we just had a spot of fun. It was just a little spot of fun. And he's just like, I'm just like, I love that you're describing this movie as just like a little spot of fun. Like that's my everything. And I just, wow. I'm sorry. I hope they get you fixed.
You deserve good internet.
Yes.
Everyone deserves. Okay, maybe the dog disagrees. I don't know. Are you okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to move those yet. I need to ask him where he wants them put. She's back over in her corner, like dying, like just dying, just into the corner. Melodrama much? It's obvious you're my dog. See, when you were a kid, you were ostracized for being different, and your guidance teacher was hell-bent on you being good at basketball. Yes. My teachers were convinced that I had to play either basketball or football because I was a big kid and because I was tall and broad-shouldered. Like, you're perfect for the sports ball. I'm like, but I don't like the sports ball. But people will like you if you play the sports ball. It's the only way people are going to like you. And like, I kept hearing it in that way of like, you have nothing going on for you except for your broad shoulders and your height. So use them or everyone will hate you. Like, I don't think they meant it that way, but it's just like my sense of humor, that doesn't count. The fact that I was in band, who's going to like a band geek? I mean, seriously, right? Like,
I was a band geek.
But
I hung out with all the band geeks.
None of that counted to the counselor. It was all about, hey, why don't you go play the sports ball? Because then at least you'll have friends. And I'm just like, I have friends now, just like a couple, but like it's fine. But people will actually like you if you play the sports ball. What does that mean? Yeah, they need to stop doing that to people. Yeah, they really need to stop doing that to people. Yeah. Yeah, it was. That's one of in a way, I'm glad that a lot of children's media have adopted monsters in a way that is less horrific because it's much harder to identify with a lot of the modern movie monsters. Starting probably with the slasher films in the 80s, the monsters became much less like, honestly, if you're a kid who grew up wanting to be Jason Voorhees, you need to see a psychiatrist right now because like he's a slasher who's like way too into his mom. Like, no, that's not good. Don't do that. And of course, We're not even going to get into the problems with Freddy Krueger, but
Yeah.
but you know, you need to be able to see that in a way that you can connect to. And it's why, as much as I bash Twilight, and I do, it's one of the reasons why I think it was as popular as it was, because young girls are always told that whatever they're into is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever girls are into, that's the bad thing. That's just 100% the bad thing. And it's kind of the video I want to make about Gina Carino getting fired. Is the same people that were like, this is some SJW BS, that they have a like female fighter who's just a Mary Sue, are the same people that are just like, how dare you get rid of the woman that we told you to get rid of? They're just like, that's a hard 180. Like, you didn't like her because she was a WUMS, and now, she made a bad Holocaust reference, and you're like fine with her now. I see where your line is. But like, there's so much just abject hatred thrown at women and girls over what they like. And so the idea of the sparkly vampire has to in some way be the most appealing thing ever, because you have the forbidden nature of the vampire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Sparkles.
the sparkles. Like,
And he's tormented inside.
he's tormented inside, but he sparkles. And Robert Pattinson's really freaking hot. That never hurts. I understand why it was popular. And we need more media that can speak to people in those places where they're looked down on. And that's when you look at the people who actually were making the monster movies in the 50s, they were the rejects because the studios didn't care about the movies. Like they knew that they would make some money, but these weren't, they were more concerned about what Cecil B. DeMille was doing over on the next lot, because that was their prestige piece, right? They did. So the people who wanted to be making movies, but were the outcasts, were making these movies. And that's why you can't help but see them like almost in the same category as like, oh crap, why do movies always have to go out of my head when I say them? Ed Wood's, what was it, Glenn and Glenda, or Plan 9 from Outer Space, where you have like the ultimate outcast. I mean, Ed Wood is the ultimate like
Plan 9 from Outer Space, my uncle showed to us. Just the spaceship's on fire, were literally marshmallows on strings dangled in front of a painted backdrop. Just like, there's vampires and aliens, and like these aliens' plot to save the future is go back in time and make sure this bomb isn't created by raising the dead, and somehow there's vampires. Like,
of course there's vampires. Why wouldn't there be vampires?
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Like, this is Plan 9 from Outer Space is in every respect the world's most successful fanfic project.
Like,
Because
you can see their eyes reading their lines on the cue cards. Like, it's so bad.
it's so bad. But it's like all the people that he loved. Like, it's so like, this was the 80s fan films that were like under the thing, except for he actually got it released. He actually got it put in theaters. Like, it's so, I love that movie and all of its tragic destructiveness. Like, I don't know that there's anything redeeming or positive I can say about it. Hi Stacey. Worst hello ever. I'm not saying that about you. Just hi. I'm talking about Plan 9. It's a terrible movie. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Then you get stuff like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I love that movie so much.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the the
Rubber.
You have the critters. I'm sorry, critters to me still belong back in the classic movie monsters, like Critters and Trolls, and the first Troll movie, because they're so like
That's the first one?
what?
There's a first Trolls? I thought there was only Trolls 2.
No, there's a first one.
Oh.
It's it's a thing. What happened? It's Plan 9 in outer space, but with, I think it was originally a leprechaun. This is the one thing that like the 80s brought about, the 70s and the 80s brought about, that I don't think we will ever see again, and that is no F's given relocalization of media that gave some of the great the classics of the 80s, especially in the monster movies, because there were a bunch of them where they just were like, oh, that Italian movie is very popular over here, let's just like cast some American people in it and call it ours. Like Godzilla. I love kaiju movies with every fiber of my being. I do not understand why any of the changes that are made for the localization of Godzilla movies happen, because they don't make it more understandable. They don't like, make it work better. Like, I don't know, let's just add in a random American general, but there are no tanks in the movie. It's fine. Nobody will notice. Okay. Fine. Let's do that.
Why is the military in every monster movie nowadays? Like, even Monster Hunter is the US military goes to the other world and sees these dragons and stuff.
The real answer, and the saddest one, is the military pays them very often, even if it's not like direct payments, which in some instances, like for the Transformers movies, they got direct payments from the military to make those movies. Those were partially funded by the military.
To make the military look cool and get recruits.
Yep. And for in others, even if they're not paid in cash, they get to use the things that are just sitting around, you know, the war machines that are just sitting around that nobody's using for like inexpensive reasons. Now, CB brought up Wizard of Oz. I consider Wicked Witch of the West a classic movie monster because she gave me freaking nightmares and I wanted to be her. And that to me is like, she's from the 50s. No, she's from the 30s. Wasn't that 39? When they made
the children's books or the movie?
The movies. The first movie I think was 39, wasn't it?
Yes, 1939.
You typed faster than me.
Autocomplete.
But she is such an amazing character that, one, gave us the witch, all of the witches from my beloved Bugs Bunny cartoons, which I grew up as a child. The green-faced hag that just is there to just like, I don't know, eat you and your little jerk too.
And the wart on the long nose.
The wart on the long nose. And honestly, the most justified villain in movie history. Like, Dorothy just shows up one day, kills her sister, steals her shoes, and it's just like, nah, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to make restitution. I'm fine. Bye. Like, the most justified villain in the history of movie villains is the Wicked Witch of the West. Like, she may have been mean to the Munchkins and all that. Like, I know what she did to the Winkies because I read the books, but at least in the movie, because you don't get any of that. Like, you don't understand that, like, she's tricked the flying monkeys into being in her control because they took the Monkey King out of the book, out of the movie, which is a tragedy. Somebody do a remake and put him back in. Great character.
Still need to see Return to Oz.
So
I've heard it's nightmare fuel for children.
it's it is an interesting film. It's not as bad as what was it? I think it was the Through the Looking Glass live action movie that they did in the 70s. That for some reason was always on TV like during kids programming hour when I was a child. That like no. Psychedelic films about monsters, because like they like went in hard on the Jabberwocky. Like that's basically the movie I'm talking about is basically Alice gets trapped inside the mirror universe and then a giant dragon monster tries to kill her for an hour and a half. Done. Like that's the Through the Looking Glass movie. Like that, the only two things it has in common with Alice in Wonderland is there's a Jabberwocky and there's a character named Alice. I think it's worse just because there's nothing good I can say about it. At least Return to Oz is almost bearably watchable.
High praise. You're almost bearably watchable.
Hey, like I said earlier, it's not Children of Blood. I have a very low threshold for like what makes a movie good. And as long as you're better than Doom, i.e. The Rock's movie version of the video game Doom, or Children of Blood, as long as you're like above those, it's
Manos Hands of Fate. Oh. That was so hard. I almost couldn't watch it. It was so boring.
I just excuse me while I melt in the corner for a minute as my memory.
I watched it with Mystery Science Theater 3000 and I still could barely get through that thing.
Oh wow.
So boring. Yes.
We're just gonna have to have a Gamera like film festival after this. Oh, I wonder if those are still up on Amazon Prime. We could do that on Twitch if they still are.
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to look at that. I love Gamera. Gamera, I get the love for Godzilla, but Gamera is where it's at. Gamera is my favorite kaiju. The Tin Man's makeup. Yep. And their original makeup that they used almost killed the actor who they put it on, because the actor who played Uncle Jed on the Beverly Hillbillies was supposed to play the Tin Man. And they painted him up in the costume and his skin couldn't breathe. And he almost died with them trying to get it off. He then had an allergic reaction to the stuff that they used to take the makeup off of him.
Oh no.
That's terrible.
Why not double down on the almost killing the actor that we hired for our movie? Why not? And that's why he's not in the movie. Because they didn't want to wait for him to get healthy again. So they just recast him. Because movies. You got your obsession with wrestling as a small kid. Ooh, I see. Whoop.
Kitty pigs.
Kitty pig. Got distracted. When you were a small kid back in high school with your friends from primary school. My obsession with wrestling, as brief as it was, came from Cyndi Lauper and her use of pro wrestlers in her music videos. Because I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 1976, but I have vivid memories of the 80s. And Cyndi Lauper used a lot of pro wrestlers in her music videos, which then when I would see them on like TV during the WWE, the WWF at the time, I'd be like, oh, you're from the Cyndi Lauper video. And I stopped and watched and like got into all that. And then they had the Roddy Piper's, was it Raiders? He actually had a cartoon. He had a cartoon before Hulk Hogan did. And I watched that too. See, Margaret Hamilton was severely burned in one scene. Yep. And the makeup artist scrubbed her burns and basically paint thinner before she was taken to the hospital. Yep.
Ouch.
And the actor, I can't remember his name, the actor who played the Cowardly Lion almost dehydrated constantly because I think, if I remember correctly, that costume weighed somewhere around 100 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
And they made him wear it during rehearsals
Oh no.
because it affected how he moved. Like if he learned his dance steps outside the costume, he couldn't perform them the same way. So he had to he was in that lion suit the whole time.
Ooh, his poor joints.
Yeah, he just sweated so much. The Grinch song. Now, I need some specificity here because my mind immediately went to the
Thurl Ravencroft.
Yes. I know what you're talking
Frosted Flakes guy.
Yes. I forget this, and then I'm reminded every time. It's like a surprise to me. Every time. Yes, and they originally wanted Shirley Temple to play Dorothy Gale, which is true, but they won. You know, they also weren't going to include Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They had to fight for that. She actually used that in a previous project, and they thought it would be just recycling and nobody would care. And yet, that's the only place we remember it from now. That cartoon was better than the movie, and that wouldn't have been all that hard to do.
I was gonna say that movie was pretty B-roll-ish.
Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's hard to express like what a thing that movie was at the time, because like it was something we weren't supposed to have seen as kids, but somehow we all had that cool sibling or like older friend that was able to get us into the theater to watch it. Like every kid in school was talking about that. Yep. You're talking about the new Bumblebee. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I found out something yesterday that really upsets me. I'm 1 year older than John Cena.
Wow.
I did not know that. I am 1 year older than John Cena. Did not know that. And that makes me feel weird when I look at myself in a mirror. But anyway. Yeah, it is. It is a wonderful... it's a really good twist on the monster movie, because Bumblebee is very much a monster in the standard way. You know, I think that movie actually fits all of the tropes of like a classic horror movie, now that I'm thinking about it, because he's the strange alien. She's hiding him in the house. Has a lot of ET-ish vibes to it, but ET's basically what if you just took that one scene with the hermit from Frankenstein and extended out to a full-length movie and made the hermit kids. I have not seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Has anyone seen this? Is it worth?
I
haven't
no
seen
idea.
it. We were greatly following the trailer conundrum. It's great interest since I'm in the visual effects industry, and they decided after the trailer, we're going to redo the design of Sonic the Hedgehog. And so we're like, is the entire VFX company going to be on overtime while they try and rehaul this thing? Or are they actually going to push the date back? Are they going to kill the artists to try and make money?
I was wondering.
Oh, yeah, that's a good perspective.
I was wondering how much of that was real. Like, they caved so quickly in a way that I've never seen a movie company cave to pressure. I was wondering how much they basically made a crap. I like tinfoil hatted all over myself with that. Like, they made a cringeworthy trailer so that they could come out and white knight themselves into people actually liking a video game movie.
Uh-huh.
I have no proof. I have no proof. And I'm not saying that that's what really happened, because I've been trying to find any, like, because they very quickly, like, caved. I've never seen a company, like,
well, those teeth were horrifying.
They were. But it was so bad that it almost felt intentional. Like it felt like
It's like, how did
Like,
this get
who did-
approved?
Who did not see this? How did so many people not see this and say something?
I think of that about a lot of things. Like seriously, no one. Okay. Yes, turning my camera off makes it where you can't hear me cough. I'm good at this. But yeah, I somebody like it's. I'm not saying. I just. It seems like too much of a perfect storm. It just feels like too much of a perfect storm. Yes.
I still need to read the Wizard of Oz books.
I need to reread them.
I love the Wizard of Oz books. In fact, one of the projects that I have put on hold because the story wasn't working the way that I quite wanted it to, and so it's been shoved off. Actually, basically, it was all of the fairy tale princesses existed in the same world, and I actually plunked Oz down on the map because Oz is in the middle of a continent, and we have no idea what's on the outside of that continent. And so I was trying to incorporate all the Oz mythos because there's so many fun creatures from there that I wanted to put in, and it just became way too much of a product, but I put off. I love the Oz books. I absolutely love the Oz books. And if you like Anne Hathaway, because I understand how controversial it is to say anything nice about Anne Hathaway because people either love her or hate her. I've met very few people that are meh about her. She did a dramatic recording of the first Wizard of Oz book. That is so good. It is so good. I will just put it on sometimes and just have it on in the background because one, I love Oz, and two, hearing her do Dorothy and Glenda and the Wicked Witch and all the voices and stuff, it makes me happy. Her Cowardly Lion. Oh, Anna Hathaway's Cowardly Lion. Like, I kind of want a one-woman show. Like, I want them to just completely, like, Eddie Murphy, Norbert this thing, and just, like, make a movie out of this and have Anna Hathaway play all the characters, because I enjoyed it a lot. But, you know, if you don't like Anne Hathaway, don't. Just don't. But it's very good.
It's interesting, some of the articles on why people don't like Anne Hathaway. Just some of it is so rooted in misogyny that it's surprising.
Yeah. Tin Man is an interesting discussion. I liked Tin Man. Tin Man is very different. Tin Man and Wicked are such interesting plays on the Wizard of Oz storyline. Especially Tin Man. I think Tin Man could have been a little bit better. I think that they were very enamored with the cast that they had and leaned a little bit heavier into the cast and what they were known for. Because, you know, Zoe Deschanel was just at the beginning of Zoe Deschanel-ing her way across like all media. And so they really leaned heavily into Manic Pixie Girl Dorothy for that, for my taste. But I can't wait for the Wicked movie, to be quite honest. I think that's going to be a thing. I wish I'd seen. I have not experienced a live performance of Wicked. I would love to, though. Yeah, Wizard of Oz had a lot of things go on in it. So you never understood why the Wizard of Oz was such a classic. In the movie, there's a bucket of water. Yeah, the Wizard of. Okay, so I can give you like the boring reason for why Wizard of Oz is a classic, and it's because it was cheap for them to license it, and so it was on television twice a year. And it was like one of the only things worth watching on TV. Like, it got burned into a lot of us, into our minds. But the books are good. The books are good. And if you ever get a chance, I think it's on YouTube now. the original movie version that why is my brain being like this today? See, I'm wanting to say Frank Oz because, Oz, and Frank Oz voiced Yoda and Miss Piggy and not the person. Anyway, the writer of the Wizard of Oz books made a movie version of them before. It's a silent movie version of them before the MGM movie that everybody knows. I think it's up on YouTube. At least it was. And it's very good.
Is it a silent film?
Yes. If you're into silent films, I'm really into silent films because
Heck yeah.
and he does a lot of very interesting things with it because before he wrote the Oz books, his first job was doing window displays.
Interesting.
To get people into stores. He then later started a newspaper and that it's like started writing and a lot of stuff that way. But one of the things that one of the things that got him thinking to make Oz was he used to make Tin Men out of the various components that he was putting on display. And you can see a lot of that like theatricality that he brought into the like set dressing and stuff. It's a very interesting movie because I cannot think of another movie that was literally made by the author of the work. Like it's interesting. Hello, Eva. How are you doing? Yep. Bono's. Yep. He actually appeared in several of her videos. Let's see. There was Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, but there was also one that was Roddy Piper's something. I can't remember what it was called, but he had his own cartoon as well. How do you feel about Devil Girl from Mars?
I don't know that one.
I'm double checking that that's the movie that my mind pulled up. 'Cause
I'll just observe the guinea pigs.
oh my goodness. I have to watch this. That's what I think about that. Like that just oh my goodness. What is this? What is I will definitely have to hunt this down and watch it. 1954 Martian feminism will destroy the world. Okay. I definitely gonna have to I'm definitely gonna have to check this out. That it's like Lady Ming the Merciless. Like, oh my goodness. I have not seen this. It is definitely gonna make it onto my watch list. Can't believe that escaped me.
They land in Scotland.
Oh, they live. That movie messed up my childhood because I remember every kid trying to get their hands on polarized glasses because we had to know if it was true or not. Because oh no, that was like the whole like schoolyard conspiracy theory is like, that's true, right? Like if you have the right kind of glasses, you can actually see like that's what they're really doing. Like everybody was trying to get their hands on polarized glasses. Alrighty, I was wanting to do another sprint. We missed the actual time that I wanted to because I was enjoying going through your comments. Oop, I just heard a boop. Boop.
Woo!
Hello, cat. How is dinner?
It's good. I'm gonna go get another bowl of it. Actually,
Did you make some?
I took some chicken and then some zucchini, which is how I was testing to see if they liked zucchini. Some green beans, and then once that was cooked and the rice was cooked, I put some rice into it, and then I also threw in some peppers and black olives and cheese in my bowl.
Sounds yummy.
Why do I think that turning the camera off? I do this with like literally. This needs to be a game. Like I need to get like a whole bunch of like party favors, like some of my extra R2D2s. I have so many R2D2s. Oh no. That's right. That was before we went live. So Oma went to a flea market and found a bag of Star Wars toys for a quarter. No, it was 50 cents. And picked me up a bag of Star Wars toys. Because she knows I like Star Wars toys. I like Star Wars. And I was going through the bag of Star Wars toys before we got started. And there's a bunch of R2D2s in here. And they're so cute. And like, oh, the new winner of the smallest not to scale Yoda. Like, I'm just saying, this Yoda is a big boy. Like, like fighter Yoda. Like, look at them arms, man. Look at them arms.
He's like a cowboy Yoda.
Yeah.
Got chaps.
Especially pants, yeah.
What were they thinking when they made this thing? Like, it makes no sense.
That reminds me of, I saw a thing, it was of Grogu, and they were like, Master Grogu, something, 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 and then Grogu was like, this is the way. One, that hurt my heart, and two, he was like posed like that.
I have to say, my favorite thing that was in the box so far is Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan. I may have made the light too bright. So, yeah, light's too bright.
Wow, he's pale.
So, Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan Kenobi and Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh,
Because
my
You
future
gotta have-
hubby.
you got to have your hottie Ewan McGregor. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm fine with it. But yeah, and the funny thing is, I had to literally separate the Mace Windu and the Jango Fett toys that were in there because they had somehow gotten interlocked. Like they were in like Mortal Kombat in the bag. They were literally stuck together. We wiggle jiggle them apart, which was kind of funny. But yeah. I think next I need to make it like when Charlie does something stupid, people get something from the desk. Then I would have nothing on my desk. I just made myself sad. So I'm going to quickly go through. I have a new ring light on the way, by the way, because Stephanie sent me a link to the one that she got, and it looks really, really cool. And I ordered one because I need better lighting. Alrighty, there is so much goodness in the chat. Ooh, is that a link to the actual movie? Oh, gonna have to pop that out and check that during the next sprint.
Also, random thing, Sonic was actually a pretty good movie.
I saw this.
There is there's a scene with they make it very obvious of who like sponsored and allowed them to use their actual branding in the thing. Like there's a quick little, basically I'm gonna call it an infomercial for Olive Garden in it. Like I'm not even kidding.
Mm-hmm.
And also my favorite scene in it has to be Jim Carrey plays the Robotnik,
Yep.
and there's like a music scene and him like dancing, and then suddenly it's just like, what did you do? I just wanted to see if you wanted a latte. Of course I want a latte. I love how you do make your lattes. You only have to watch the movie for that scene.
I will probably watch it. The hubby was more into Sonic than I was.
I like Sonic, but I enjoyed this movie.
Well, I say that just because I'm so noises. So I was gonna pop this. Wait, where am I? I'm lost. There we are. I was gonna pop this into the thing. If anybody actually wants to get like work done, Tessa just started her stream. where there's may or may not be less talking. Who knows? It's like we are fairly similar in on our streams with this, like where I'm like talkie. This is true. I am getting closer to affiliate over on Twitch. So if people want to help me move over there, if you're not following me on Twitch, twitch.tv/CE Dorset. And you can follow me over there, and I will start doing more Steve over there because I'm still trying to figure it out and seeing how many times I can make Cat sing for my own amusement.
So I added a thing that you can redeem for channel points, which is me turning on the guinea pig cam and making it big.
Ooh, nice.
Kind of like it is now over there. But like you could redeem it and then I'd make it big for a certain period of time.
Which is smart. Like that's almost something that you could charge bits for. Let's be honest. That's people would probably pay bits for that. So because the guinea pigs are the most important thing, not to insult my wonderful guests, we're going to leave them up on the screen. But before we get started, let's pick our teams. Let's restart the race and pick our teams.
Who's gonna be our monsters this time?
Who are we going to have? Ooh, Dracula.
I'm going with the pirate.
That Wolfman, man, he looks hungry. No, I'm sticking with Dracula. I'm going to stick with Dracula.
I want Dracula too.
Yay, I'm going to win because Laura picked it.
Didn't win last time.
Yeah, it's only because it felt sorry for me because my cousin died. Alrighty, so we are going to get this sprint started. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you are working, make sure you're saving your work. Hopefully, I will figure out a melody that works for this track that I'm working on because that would make me very, very happy. We are going to get started in. See what I did here? I can finger count badly all I want to, and you don't know because guinea pig cam. We're going to get started in.
You genius.
Brilliant. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you back here in 15 minutes. That was surprising. That did not feel like 15 minutes. And the mummy one.
Ooh.
My pick last time. Ah!
All hail the mummy. So I fiddle-faddled around with the song a little bit more. I went over to say hi to Tessa because I wanted to go over and say hi to Tessa, and fiddle-faddled with the song a bit more. I have this thing that I'm wanting it to do, but the notes and I are having a fight. I'm just like, no, you just do this thing. Like, oh, that sounds terrible. But I want you to do this. And so now I start arguing with the laws of nature, which is how my songs come into being. How did the rest of y'all do?
Well, I fed the doggies, so they are now happy and sated.
Yay for happy dogs.
Yes.
I edited my flash fiction some more, elaborated on the ending a little bit, so it's a little bit more, you know what's happening to him. And made some nachos and ate the nachos.
Ooh, nachos.
I'm gonna make more after this.
So I don't know if this is what you are referring to or not, but I am never far away from my alien stuff because I am an absolute. There I am. My this is my alien lunchbox, which of course has the cutie boy on the back and the movie poster on the front.
Ooh.
Because I wish it was for the second movie because the second movie was better. But then, of course, you know, that one thing that you always want, like, yes, let's drink out of a alien thermos because that's good for you. And I've never opened these because I think it's so funny that it came with these. It came with little alien and Space Marines, Army men.
That is amazing.
That's just the greatest thing ever. I've never gotten them out. I keep thinking like I'm going to set up like little dioramas behind me, but I have yet to do it. But yeah, I think you need to be careful bringing up the alien films. I know you're probably just picking the alien in the race, but I'm saying this is like a backdoor way of like, if you want to like dedicate an entire like day to just talking about either aliens or the greatness that is Sigourney Weaver, I can do that. Like that is the thing that I am A-okay with. That is the thing that is possible. My spine. Ugh. There. Are you happy now? Ow.
Careful.
Well, a couple of vertebrae popped, so yay. I actually had a Valorant tea last night just to try to relax the muscles in my back. They've not been fun. Yes, I want to be famous, but you're not going to be the one that gets me there. Like, you're just a tease. Like, I want to be all the famous. I want to just crazy famous. Like, please. But no, because you suck. I love those. Like, hey, would you like to be famous? No, I'm streaming because I want perfect anonymity. Like, CB got 156 words. Hello, Alexis. How are you doing?
Guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs. It's a guinea pig. It's a bastard of. Whoop, wrong one. Where? All the wrong buttons. There.
There we go.
It's an enclosure with hiding guinea pigs that occasionally come out and do things. It's sudden. Oh, there's one. I see one. I wish you could see my mouse because I'm pointing at it. I'm poking his nose. I see a little head poking out. Oh, cute now, Taguaro.
That would be Parker.
Oh, Parker.
I keep mixing their names up. I keep
Me
wanting to say
too.
Parker Seasoning. I'm terrible at it.
No,
Paris.
it's Paris Seasoning and Parker Bandit.
I will get there. Eventually, I will get there. I feel like we've talked about like a lot of different stuff tonight. So, I'm trying to think. Oh, we haven't talked about the creature from the Black Lagoon at all. Like, how have we skipped this glorious, glorious boy who just wants to be loved, and he's gonna steal himself a white woman just to be loved? Never understood the plot, but hey, I mean, look at that. Like, as far as like classic creature design goes, he is gorgeous. Like the amount of work done. I mean,
Even his footprints were cool.
yeah. Like, it just. As we've been talking about how these relate to the sensations of otherness, I don't know if it's my fear of natural bodies of water that made me love that movie so much, or if it was the fact that, like, I didn't believe that love was a real thing and felt like that was the theme of the movie. I don't know which it was. But
So, how do you feel about the variation of Creature from the Black Lagoon that is The Shape of Water?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I have not seen The Shape of Water. And I'll tell you why. There's too much pressure. There's too much pressure on me. Okay, so one of my best friends in the entire universe, this is like his favorite movie of all time. Like,
Okay.
he fell head over heels in love with this movie. And I'm so afraid I'm not going to have an adequate response to this movie. Like, I don't know that it would harm our friendship if I didn't have an appropriate response to this movie, but I've literally been afraid to watch it. Because like, you can't bring up anything even like you start talking about Hellboy, and that's within, like, that's 1 degree removed from Shape of Water because Doug Jones played the monster in both. He played Abe Sapien in Hellboy, and he played the fishy guy in
And
Shape of
same
Water.
director.
And same director. And so he just like the pressure is so real. What did you think of The Shape of Water?
Okay. So, before we started working on it, I got the script and I read the script. And I didn't realize that it was a romantic relationship between her and the fish guy.
Oh,
And so I was caught completely off guard. And I was like, wait, what are we doing? What am I going to be working on for the next 9 months? And so that threw me for a loop. I thought it was friendship and she was busting him out. And I was like, yeah. And then, no. It's just,
I'm going to have to do a fish man doing naughties with what?
yeah. I had that on my screen for months because I had to add all of his blinks because his eyes were CG and we had to like morph his face because he, like, Doug Jones is in the suit, the fish suit, and one of the eyes looked like it should look, but he couldn't see out of it, so we acted the whole movie half blind. So the other eye he could see out of, but it was different. And so we had to make the eyes look the same and look the way we wanted them to look and add the membrane eyelids and add the scrunch of the blinks and stuff. So yeah, every scene he's in, even the steamy ones, I was like, oh, okay. But
See, that's a whole new thing that like I haven't even considered yet of all of the poor people who have to animate the naughties in some of these new movies.
I also worked on The Boys.
Oh no.
So luckily it wasn't me, it was my coworker who got a lot of those scenes. I just worked on turning him invisible and uninvisible. So
I know it's a
Yeah.
controversial statement because, you know, I get that people really like The Boys. I was not able to finish the first episode.
Yeah.
It was not my thing. And I also rage quit out of oh crapple. Warner Brothers thing with the mixed match superheroes that aren't really superheroes show that they have. Not Titans, the other one. The one that Glory and Tom like so much. Tried watching it, rage quit out. Just couldn't. Just couldn't. It
I should know this, but I don't know this.
Yeah, it's bugging me. Because my mind keeps going, Suicide Squad. I'm like, no, you actually sat through Suicide Squad, but you couldn't sit through one episode of this show.
I sat through Suicide Squad twice. I saw it before it came out. And then my friends were like, I want to go see it. So I had to go back. Midnight opening. Watch Suicide Squad. And I haven't gone back since.
Can I just say that, like, it's worth watching just for Margot Robbie. But I'm terrible like that.
Hmm.
They're so cute. Will they eat the cilantro? We shall find out.
Of course, you've taken it out of all of your things. I've loaded up HBO Max because I'm like, it's on HBO Max. What's the name of this freaking show?
Doom Squad? Was it that one?
The which one?
The Doom Patrol or whatever?
That's it. Doom Patrol. Yeah.
Oh.
Rage quit out of the first episode. You can ask the hubby. Like, it was not pretty. Like, wait, Laura's got an IMDb page?
Yeah.
She does. I found it.
So, like, when I'm not so humble bragging about knowing Laura, I actually have something I can share.
I need to update it because I worked on Let's Play. No, Come Play. I forget the real title of the movie. I only know the code name. So I need to add that one to it. That one came out on like the day before Halloween last year.
I love how you have a known for row at the top. You're
Yeah.
known for your work in Shape of Water, How It Ends, the Hellboy remake, and Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I feel like we just need to do a whole series of like, so, Laura, dish.
Okay, I can dish on Resident Evil, the final chapter. Oh my gosh. Okay, I love lighting monsters, and there are monsters galore in Resident Evil, the movie franchise. And so I got to work on the creature that's in the basement with all the meat hooks.
Oh yeah.
And I called him Mr. McMeaty. He looked like he was made out of Spanish ham. Like, oh my gosh. He just looks like he's made out of meat. But the editing was so hard to work with because the shots for each individual camera move, each shot was so short. You would almost get a seizure from having it on loop so you could double check your work. So the flashlight's moving and the strobe lights going off and it's just moving and the monster going like this over and over. It's just like
I can
that
does not sound fun.
So
I don't know.
editing
Which was
nice.
Let's ask the inappropriate question. Which was worse to work on, that or Monster Hunter? Just out of curiosity, because I know how frustrated you were with the camera work in it too.
I think both had equal overtime of insanity, but I had one of my coworkers had left before Monster Hunter, And so he wasn't there anymore. But whenever we were in the lab until like 2 a.m. working on stuff, he would go into Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions. So this guy from India is doing Schwarzenegger impressions. And it's just beautiful at 2 a.m. So I have some great memories.
Oh, Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
I miss a good Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation. Like, that doesn't happen as much as it should.
He used to be my governor.
Me too.
I was still living in California when he was governor. I remember that.
They may not eat it. Because I think before coming to me, they the only vegetables I think they had really had were lettuce and maybe carrots.
I'm sorry, the darting around the corner is like, oh my goodness. Like,
Who's doing it right now is Parker.
the zoom is just getting me. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I think it might be that I'm in a fragile emotional state, but the zoom, like.
You can't see it because of how the camera is right now. But what they're doing right now is they're actually eating their hay. That's what their hay comes out.
Do you need to use hay with guinea pigs? Because I'm allergic to hay.
Yes, you have to. It's right now in there they have alfalfa hay, I think. But I also have like Timothy hay. I gave that because I got a small bag of alfalfa hay, and my stepdad bought me a bag of Timothy hay. Yeah, they need it for their digestive system.
Same with the bun.
That could be an issue. But I don't know what kind of... I'll have to ask, because I learned this when I was very young and was sent to the barn to help Uncle Denny. And that's how I learned I am extremely allergic to the hay that they were baling. And that was not good. I turned about the color I am if I get... There we go. If I zoom back this much into the darkness,
Oh,
I turn about that color.
Oh gosh.
There was like one giant hive. Like my body was like one giant hive. It was not your friend.
I'm gonna have to turn off the guinea pig cam soon because my phone is dying.
I understand this. I'm okay with this.
That's why when I'm gonna do it on my streams, it'll have like a time limit because I'll have to charge my phone. And they're nowhere near an outlet.
Darn those guinea pigs not near an outlet.
Darn the guinea pigs. Darn their cuteness.
Exactly. Have you seen the Invader Zim episode of Hamstergeddon?
Yes.
Ultra pee-pee. There's a class pet hamster, and Zim decides, like, he notices that everybody loves the hamster because it's so stinking cute. So he decides to enlarge the hamster, and the hamster's name is Pee-Pee. So it's Ultra Pee-Pee. And it just like walks around the town Godzilla style, and everybody just is in love with this cute hamster and bow down to its cuteness.
I was once at a convention where the filkers down in the filk halls, just somebody started strumming their guitar and doing the whole zoomy, zoomy, zoom, zoomy, 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 zoom. And then the next thing you know, like everyone in the entire hotel was singing along. And like we were all under the mind control of the Invader Zim. It just spread. I've never quite experienced anything like that. The closest I've ever been to that happening is when somebody started singing Regarding Brains by Jonathan Colton at a con once, and it like took over the entire thing, and then we were invaded by zombies that night. But
okay, when the Thor Ragnarok trailer came out, in
Hi,
the
Megan.
Megan is
Hello.
in charge. In the studio, everybody was singing Immigrant Song because of that trailer. And so we'd be sitting in the dark theater in dailies waiting for our shots to come up, and you hear the pens just tapping immigrant song. So we just bust out in song, waiting for our shots to come up. Yes.
Oh man, I miss concerts. Sorry, I just had a moment. Like the last time I sang along with Immigrant Song was I can't remember who I was there to see, but they had a DJ that while they were setting up between acts, the DJ would just like keep the crowd like amped up, and was like just not only like playing songs but like egging the crowd on to like sing along and do stuff. And like when you and like 10,000 of your closest friends are all like just screaming your lungs out that wah! As loud as you can, because your shout has to be louder than the other side of the arena.
Heck yes.
Oh, it was so much wonderful. It was my everything.
It was, do you want to be famous then?
It was somebody wondering if I wanted to be famous. And of course, the answer is yes. I mean, look at me. I'm obviously an ingenue, just waiting to be discovered. I love the angle of your camera, Laura. It's like, here, let me.
Do you want my cranberry raspberry juice?
It just reminds me of like those like 90s CD-ROM games where they're like, here, let me pour that for you. And like they did everything to camera. Because I don't know, they didn't know better.
My computer buffered. Over there, so by the time I got over here, it stopped buffering.
Don't believe her. Cat's just magic. Grumpy cat, oh, grumpy cat.
Grumpy cat.
I think next weekend I am ripping carpet up in the basement bedroom, and ooh,
Wow.
I wanted to replace the carpet in here when we started to do the new office, because this was an extra weird room that they tacked onto the house for absolutely no reason. Like it's stupid. It's a dumb room. It should not exist. They literally like from a little bit that way to the wall used to be part of the garage, and now nothing fits into the garage in the house because they slapped a weird room in here that makes no sense with no insulation in the walls. Like this room is dumb. Like this room is just dumb. And so we were just using it for storage. So when we took over the house, we didn't like change the carpets. I'm regretting this decision now. Because the old carpets are still in here with all the sprayed paint and I'm pretty sure that's a spilled bong. I'm pretty sure that's a spilled bong over there. Not that I know what that would look like. But I'm pretty sure that's a bong water stain.
You plead the fifth.
I have never done anything illegal in my life. All right. Have the fun. I was actually debating how long I wanted to go today. I wanted to go for our usual time. I'm going to do at least one more sprint because I want to pretend that I'm going to get, I don't know, one bar of this damn song done. But I don't think that that's going to be a thing that's going to happen today because...
Can you just start reading this?
What is
Amazons?
The Amazon: Lives and Legends of Warrior Women Across the Ancient World by Adrienne Mayer. I need to read it for my
I can, in spirit, like when we get off stream, just read a bunch of Wonder Woman comics, like in like solidarity with you. I need to finish Witching Hour. I haven't finished it yet. I just found out how she got cursed. Yay!
I read the prologue, or most of the prologue so far, but it tells the story of Atlanta, the Greek Amazon, and I find it very interesting, like just that part so far. But my teacher gave us 3 book options, and you need to pick one of the 3 books and then read it. To then, from that book, you can come up with a research topic.
Have a good night, Maggie.
And you should have to use this book as a reference and take the references from this book and use them yourself. to get
Cool.
sources.
Clever.
You know, they have found some graves that they think were actually from the people that inspired the story of the Amazons.
That's
they're
cool.
going to talk about that because there's a picture here of a grave.
Because they were predominantly women. They appeared to be a bit taller than the average for the region, and they were all buried with swords and bows, which is odd, especially for the region, for women to be not buried, which is like jewels and finery and girly stuff.
So apparently, totally still stopping us from like reading comments and printing, but apparently this is a really interesting thing to me. Apparently young girls were actually given like how we have Barbies today, but in ancient Athens they were given like these little Amazons that came with us like weapons and armor, and they could dress them up. But it's so ironic because in Athens at that time, like they wanted you to be like predominantly feminine and the exceptional woman. But at the same time, it also makes sense because they had the there was a ceremony / festival that they had where young girls would dress up as bears and in a dance for Artemis. So they'd be bear-like and wild-like
Mm-hmm.
during that festival. So it does make sense that they'd have these little Amazonian dolls.
So you made me think of this because when I was going through the bag of random Star Wars toys that Oma dropped off, one of the things that is in here is a homemade little Roman doll. This is actually a ball of yarn for the head with a little helmet thingy on it. The sword, as you can see, is made out of a paper clip.
Oh,
And I don't know what piece of plastic they cut the shield out of. But this is I don't know who made this, but it's a handmade doll. The actual uniform is made out of painted duct tape. The actual armor.
Resourceful.
Is that not the cutest little thing? Like I don't want to take it apart, but I kind of want to like make more. Because I can see how it was made. Because the head's a ball, but the rest of the body, like the little limbs and everything, they're just wound twine. It's the same yarn that makes the head.
Mm.
Let me turn the light off and see if you can see more features. Usually when I don't have the light on.
oh yeah, I can see it better now.
Oh, it has a face.
Yeah, the yarn's not actually like Try to hide my face. Oh, focus on it. Focus, damn it.
No, it's focusing on the bookshelf.
Yeah. Autofocus, isn't it fun? But
It'd be nice. Smile, then I'm gonna call it Joker smile.
it's just the cutest little thing.
Just adorable.
It's just randomly in the box. And these are just little spools of thread that are all just like glued together.
That's fantastic.
Because so you're talking about like ancient little dolls, and I'm like, I bet a lot of them were something akin to this.
Possibly. I think if I'm because it was talked about during my class, so I think I'm actually going to read about that in here. Because this actually like it doesn't just look at the mythology. It looks at the actual archaeological evidence. Because the Greeks truly believed the Amazons, like the mythical Amazons, that was their history to them. They weren't made up. They weren't a myth. They were very much real. So, like,
That's really cool. I don't know if this particular kind of thing has a name for making dolls like this, but I would love to know if anybody knows. Let's see.
Voodoo.
Possibly. It's so cute. It's just so cute. And since everybody underestimates my height and never knows how my size, There's a Funko Pop next to it, so he's tiny. It's like half a Funko Pop in size.
Oh, this is adorable.
So cute. He's just so cute. He's so cute. I do have to say, this creatures like this may make an appearance in my fantasy series I'm working on. It's just so cute. I don't know what I'm going to call them, but that may have to be a thing because I'm in love with them.
Isn't there a short film about yarn people with numbers on them? And they have the baby Siamese twins.
That sounds very familiar.
So apparently, they are. If you look it up, they're string voodoo dolls. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah, that's what I've heard them called for the little ones at Hot Topic from forever ago.
Alrighty. Does anybody want to do another sprint and then figure out what we want to do after that?
Sure.
Because, like I said, I would like to get like one bar, just one bar. Like, I'm not even like asking for like a full melody, just one bar that actually works. Because I found a beat and I really like the beat, and like nothing tonally works over the beat at all. Nothing. So it may just be a drum and bass song. I don't know. Maybe I just like give up. I don't know. It's just drums.
F sharp. Try an F sharp.
What?
Alrighty. So we're I have too many things open and I'm going to all the wrong places. Okay, so huzzah! All right, let's see who we get this time. Ooh, there's a
Clown.
Ooh, and a skeleton.
Let's see. I think I gotta go with my pumpkin head again.
You go with the Grim Reaper in the back.
I love his pants so much.
I think I'm going to go with the werewolf because I was so close to picking the werewolf last time. And he looks like he needs somebody scratching behind the ears and telling him he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. I have a problem. I admit it. Alrighty. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're saving your documents. Get something to hydrate with. We're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. That alien took off.
Ha ha ha.
It's the little alien.
Alien! Alien!
My crown is crying. I can't speak. My crown is crying.
I enjoyed that the skeleton dropped into a pile of bones and then it's just like
Twitching just slightly. Like, embrace the sadness. The sadness is joy. Oh my goodness. Did anybody have the alien? I don't think anybody picked the alien that time.
no.
I don't think so.
Alrighty. So, oh my goodness. So, how did everybody do? I may have actually fixed a. Well, I have maybe one bar of melody that's not like making me want to jab my ears with a pen, so I never have to hear sound again. So, yay! It's now just in E flat minor. Phrygian has died. I don't know why I decided to get all weird with it. Like, I didn't realize I'd gotten all weird with it, and then I was like, what is wrong with this? And I like looked at it, and I'm like, oh god. I picked an airy fairy thing, and that's not who I am at all. But I've also got a bass line that I'm working on to go with it. So, yay.
Hurrah!
And something's
did-
on fire.
Oh.
we
Yes, I
live
can
right
hear
by-
it.
Yeah, we live right by the fire department. So, when the trucks are dispatched, we know. So, how did everybody else do?
I didn't do much of anything. I just kind of sat there and was on Twitter and kind of was just dozing off.
I went through my Flash Fiction again and edited it a little bit and refixed all of the versions out to the beta readers and made more nachos and ate more nachos.
See, now I want nachos.
I'm almost done with the prologue and Amazon. So, Amazon.
It hates you again.
Oh no.
It's doing the thing.
She's back.
It was my internet that time.
That internet.
Bad internet, bad.
What was the last thing I said?
You were about to begin reading.
It says that Amazons were real, but they weren't like Amazons, but they were actually the women that belonged Scythian women.
Ah, yes, the Scythians.
Scythian, yeah. Because they lived a life that men and women both lived the same life. So they still got to be mothers, and feminine roles, but they also still went into war. They rode horses and did archery and were often buried. 1 in 4 were buried with weapons.
That's pretty awesome.
Their bones have like the evidence of
Battle wounds.
wounds. Yes.
CB got 206 words, which is awesome.
Nice.
Like, I whisper of a dream. I'm doing like backstory stuff right now. Yeah, it feels like this is my day for that. There's been way too many times today. It just feels like my thing today. Anyway, The building that you lived in. Ooh.
Just runs across the street. Hey,
Hey,
the fire.
by the way.
And can you lend me some sugar?
Same energy as how my dad found out he was allergic to hops.
Now you have to tell the story because
Yeah, I'm sorry. We need story.
My dad was at a party, like essentially a college party, and they were all doing shots, and they mixed in like some shots had beer, water, whiskey, vodka, that type of thing, and my dad ended up doing a shot of beer, and he swelled very.
oh no.
So the stereotypical what happens in a movie for an allergic reaction is what was happening to my dad. And they were like, you need to go across the street. And there was the hospital. Literally across the road was the entrance to the hospital. They were like, you need to walk across the street. So that's how my dad found out he was allergic to hops.
Poor thing. That's a great way to discover.
Yeah, that's like the worst one.
Yeah. Terrible way to find out. But at least the hospital was right there.
Mhm.
But also, so going to my grandma's house, once we passed a field of what was growing hops,
Mm.
so we had to quickly turn off the air conditioner, make sure all of the windows were closed completely, so that my father could breathe, especially since he was driving the car.
Oh,
Oh, that's even worse.
that would not. That would not.
Yeah, once
Ooh.
we got far enough away and like we could pull like into somewhere, I think my dad was the only one driving at that time. Actually, I think my stepmom might have been with us. So she made him switch with her and take Benadryl. So that, and then was like, okay, so if we come this route back going home, windows up at this point, air conditioner off at this point, and then we may go.
So I'm going to leave it to y'all on what we do. We've been doing this for 3 hours. I think we've had some really good discussion. I have so many things I want to ask Laura about the strain, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to behave.
Oh yeah, I worked on season 3. The other Del Toro project I worked on.
I am mildly obsessed with that show.
Okay, one little snippet about the strain. So the vampires have the stingers that like shoot out of their mouth. The lighting notes we got sometimes were make it look sexy. It's like what?
Ow.
It's this grotesque claw tongue thing shooting out and grabbing onto necks and killing people and make it look sexy.
I need to meet these people because I feel like we would get along. My people, like
okay.
because, oh my goodness, make it look sexy. Somebody's into their hentai. That's all I'm gonna say there.
I didn't say it, but I thought it.
Yeah, just I'll never forget when anime first started like getting imported into the country. We went over to we took my niece to go pick out some movies in the kid section, and we're going through, and there were 3 hentai movies in the kid section.
Oh my goodness.
Along with like Akira and a couple other like really not for kids movies because they were animated. So they just put them all in the kids section. And we got in, I'll forget the place it was in Pennsylvania. It was called Movies. Moovies. They had a cow for their logo.
Oh no.
And having to
That's
explain, like, these
hilarious.
are not kids' movies. You need to move these out. These are not kids' movies. And they were like, but they're animated. I'm like, no, but they're not kids' movies. I was like, here, just put one in the player behind you and hit play. Just like first 5 seconds, just like here. And I think it was like Devil City Yuka Show or something like that. That literally starts with like a giant demon rising in the middle of the city and like his 5 little demon penises going around and like attacking everything. And I was just like, here, just put this one in and hit play. Just and like I have never seen somebody scramble around to find holy water faster. Like, she started yelling and screaming like, what the hell's wrong with these people? Yelling and screaming. I was like, yes, this does not belong in the kids section.
Oh my goodness.
And how would you have recognized such things?
Because we didn't know what hentai was. Everything went into the anime section, all of it in one place, and it just would have the box cover art, which would usually just be like, oh, it's a monster. And you'd rent it, you'd bring it home, and you'd be like, oh my god, oh no. Be like, I don't think we're going to rent any Japanese movies for a while. Japanese people are messed up. And then, like, eventually you'd get like the bravery and you'd go back and, oh god, thank you. This isn't a weird tentacle porn thing. Yay. Okay. And then you go back and like the next movie, you're like, ah! It was the Wild West. And like, nobody warned you. You're just like, is this a good movie? They're like, yeah, it's a great movie. You should watch it. It's like, I'm sure like half the people knew. Like they just like wanted to hear the horror stories. Like we didn't know. We're like 16, right? Like we're like, so we're like kids. We have no idea what we're doing. And like, oh yeah. Woo. I have seen some movies. Because I always went and got my movies at Shipley's where they gave 0 F's about anything. We rented one movie that was supposed to be a sci-fi action movie. It had a certain kind of action in it. It wasn't in the adult section in the back, but it should have been. It wasn't even like an Up All Night like USA movie where like it's hinted at all of the naughties. Oh, all the naughties were on full display. It was just like, do we tell them? Do they care? Would they do anything? And then, of course, you know, my poor unfortunate straight friend was like, you will not spoil my fun. And I'm just like, all right. Because he was very excited that he found such a thing. I'm just saying that we had a lot of people scream, you need Jesus. I'm just saying. No, it was not Splice. I know what you're talking about. I have seen that movie.
I've seen reviews of it.
It was, all I know is I'm pretty sure it was in French because the language sounded like French. It had subtitles and it was like the X-rated version of Barbarella, except for more recent. But yeah, it was a problem. So yeah, cartoons are for kids. We were told that a lot, and I just had to keep explaining to people, like, I have walked into the murky world of this Japanese animation. No. And they like wouldn't understand, like, who would make cartoons for adults? But then again, they were stupid enough that we actually found a copy of Fritz the Cat in the kids section as well, which is an American animated porn movie. Because, you know, it's animated. Who would make animated stuff for kids, for adults? Like, it happened.
To the person on the Twitches, it is actually Yoda. It's a Valentine's Day Yoda.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that one.
That's what it is. It's actually Yoda.
It's actually Yoda. It's my lights make him look a little bit more sinister. And actually, the really harsh lighting makes him look like, "Hey, me here to kill you." By the way, I did find that I had one more blue shirt. This is so I now know that I have 2 glow in the dark blue shirts that work with this lighting, and this one being the Jurassic Park one, and the other one being my Final Fantasy one. I kind of want to get a lot more blue shirts because they glow in this lighting on the camera. They don't like in the room. In the room, they look normal. On camera, it's just like, whoa, and I love it. So I need to find
Electric blue.
It is so not this bright in real life. Like it is so not this bright. Like if I actually turn the light on so that you're getting less of the blue light, it's the red.
Yeah, I can see
It's
it.
normal blue. But being the gothy poison that I am, all my shirts are black for the most part. So, but I miraculously have 2 blue shirts that glow. Okay. So, I think I'm going to call it here. I am not in the best headspace because I keep thinking about Sandra and her kids. So I'm going to call it here for tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. I did not expect to have no one expects to have a death in the family, but I was not expecting that tonight. Mainly because nobody called to let us know that she was sick. That should have been a thing that they had done. And we only found out because her daughter's husband was just going through her phone, looking through the numbers and basically calling people that she called regularly to let them know. That's the only reason we found out today.
Oh wow.
But yay. Does anybody have any outro-y things that they would like to do before we head off into the wild blue yonder?
Thanks for letting me talk about monsters.
We can talk about monsters like forever. I want to start doing more like chatty stuff on Fridays because by the end of the week, I'm usually kind of out of it. If you haven't noticed, the people that are here regularly. So, yeah, anything y'all want to talk about? I'll hopefully have an announcement soon for what we're going to be talking about next week. But yeah, it's been a day. Anybody else? Follow her Twitch channel. It's awesome. Give her your subs. Follow my Twitch channel. It's getting close to the thingies.
So close.
So close. I may try. I keep saying it, but I may start doing more over there. I have some things that I want to do over there, and I just need to get the oomph to do it. I may start actually playing some games over there. I don't know. I'm being strong armed into a Borderlands 2 thing that I don't think I have a choice about. I think Mr. and Mrs. Spence have made the decision on my behalf. I think what is happening with it.
To get any of us to do anything at some point. She just could.
Yeah. So I don't know. We shall see about all that. But anyway, thank you all for being here and keeping me company. I hope you got at least some work done on your whatevers, or at least had a decent enough time with it.
Or enjoyed the guinea pig camp.
Or enjoyed the
Yes.
cam because it was amazing. And remember, that's a thing that you can do on her channel.
I'm going to try to do a regular thing. Also, depending on the time, it might all be during when they eat.
So cute.
Oh,
Because I think like 10 a.m. their veggies, and then like 10, 11 p.m.-ish. That's part of the reason they're probably not having this ultra though, is because like it was a couple hours early. They didn't inform me this time. right? So she will like put her paws on the bowl.
I love that your mic went out when you would squeak squeak, so it made you like really super high pitched for a second. Like you became one with the guinea pig.
Oh, for me it's echoing, so I
Yeah.
hear like
Echo?
the squeaks and
Yeah.
then it squeak, 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 squeak.
Like Parker will do that. So because she's up where because I open the cage like this. So she'll be facing right in the middle of like, hey, hey. Go. It's also she squeaked at me when
The echoing fixed.
did it.
Yep.
Yeah, the echoing's fixed.
She'll also squeak at me if it's after 11 and I haven't because I have these. They're like microfiber towels. I lay them on top of the cage for before I go to bed because I have and then it covers the whole top, but I can like still see out the sides. She'll squeak at me to put them on.
She's like, bedtime,
You forgot our cage
squeak,
blanket.
squeak, bedtime.
Love it. Alrighty, I'm sorry. As you're at the end, I got a bit of bad news today, and I'm calling the stream a little bit early tonight. No, you haven't in a while. It's been a very long time. I hope everything's going better for you because you went through a rough patch there. Alrighty, as I like to end everything, because we live in a nightmare hellscape that is not going to get better if we don't do any of the fighting that needs to be done to make it a better place. Remember, y'all, Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter, and trans identities are magic. And until next time, may you have the courage to write your dreams into reality. And don't forget to have fun. Bye.
Bye.